Hi there team, just a quick shout out before the video begins. These bone piles we'll be looking at, they contain skelly boys, which is great, but yeah, it's also skelly boys in kind of very distorted forms of the human norm, so that's triggering for some people, so just a safety warning, trigger warning if you will, probably best to avoid this video. Thanks for coming along anyway. If you do like dead things and creepy skeleton boys, especially for October, stick around and we'll get going. Thanks. Today we're going to look at some bone piles. So this is the box from Second Ed, but you're getting exactly the same in your Third Ed box with your Grave Golem. It's got 3 30mm bases, most of a sprue, some cards. Look how lovely they focus. And like we mentioned with the Shikomi, they've cut the sprue in half to get it to fit in the box. Cool, so we'll I can try any magic trick with these. We're just going to clean them up off the sprues and put them together. So, just having a little bit of problems focusing with the green cutting mat. So, just put a white backboard just to see if that helps with focusing on models. A pile of bone piles. Okay, so here we are looking at the first bone pile. So we've got 2 ribs, a spine, too many legs, and a head. These guys are like crazy. What's the word for it? People have been comparing it to like the zombie chihuahua and Yan Lo's beard, which like both, yeah, not easy to put together models. Also, someone in the last video pointed out that this is a heckin' chunky brush, and I know that. So I'll be using this little tool, which I got off Kickstarter, which is fantastic. Yeah, so we'll probably start by doing the ribs onto the torso. So the way the tool works is it's got this little line on it on the other side, on one of these sides, just up to about there. So you basically load it up with the glue up to that point. And capillary action pulls that down. So that's the top of the spine there. So the ribs with the armpit on them will go on that side. Like that. And so capillary action will pull the glue down like that, so it gives you really fine control. So the only downside is you do need to clean it with a lighter. I'm not sure how this will show up on camera. So that's how you clean the tool. Not a fan of it. But tools are really good for those fine little pieces. Oh, I had ribs somewhere. There we go. So there's the neck there. So the ribs have a little indent on there. And it'll clip over like that. So once we've got that guy there all together, we'll want to take this part here, which is the running hand, and that'll glue just in there like that. Hey, magic, first time. So we've got both the arms on, and that's going on pretty nicely. And then we've got 4 legs. So, whoop, is it going to work? That's the assembly instructions from Weird. So it looks like these guys here will be our back legs, and these guys will be our middle legs. So now we've got that distinction between the legs. We'll get rid of the middle ones, and that back one there with less stuff on it. That one there has a bunch of stuff we can... Goodbye, poison. That one there has more joints that we can key on to that part there. So we've just got a small bit of glue there, and that'll be test fitted and then be hard to go in. Cool, so that goes like that. So it's a little bit finicky, but it will go in there if you're just careful. So then we want to take that right foot we found before. That's just going to sit in there with that little groove. So just in there like that, and drop it. It's very important to drop things when you're trying to be careful. That puts this fear of God into us. And so that'll go like that. So while we wait for that little mess to dry up, I just want it to be more stable before I move on. With Malifaux, I tend not to batch build, just because they're all individual, very specific little models, and I want to spend a little extra time with them. If I'm going to be building a like larger sort of army sort of thing, like Genestealer cults or something like that, or Space Marines, usually I'll do like a batch build, like all at once, put on all the left arms and all the right arms, so on and so forth. In the meantime, though, since second ed is not a thing anymore, let's show off cards. So the bone piles, as they were in the old version, were just really characterful. So you had an extra set of legs, arms, or skulls. So start of your turn, you choose one of those. And Bag of Bones just made them really resilient, and yeah, discarding corpse stuff to heal damage. And then they had a melee attack, a ranged attack, where they basically take out a bone and throw it, and give out the ghost, where they'd basically disappear and then pop up beside another corpse marker. So in 30 they've changed a little bit, so they've still got the throw a javelin like bit, but now they lose health when they do it, which is unreducible. They bury at the end of the turn and then unbury by a corpse counter, which if they can't do, they die, which is really characterful. They're versatile in new 30, so you can basically use them in any crew. You're not paying the extra points for it. They're just like little toolkits, which is kind of interesting. They patch holes in some of the other crews which focus towards one or the other sort of thing. So yeah, despite being horrible models to build, in theory, like this hasn't been so bad so far, but I'm sure I'll eat those words. Yeah, they're just cool looking models. Like the art on them, like super Halloweeny, super spoopy. So we're down from 6 legs to go on the model, down to 2 more legs. So they've got a back-facing one, some fire up the top, and a front-facing one with fire on the thigh, sort of the bone. So this one we want to put away, and that back leg will pick up. So doing some test fitting, and this little guy here just fits in like that. Cool. So that just goes on there like that. So while we wait for that last leg to glue, this is the tool we were mentioning before. So I looked it up, and it's a glue looper version 4. So rewatching that tutorial on it, the glue I'm using is actually a little bit thick for it to work properly. Like I have used it to do a couple of other fine detail sort of stuff, and it's worked perfectly well. But I'll pick up some thinner glue and see how that works. It should give me better results. And when you're using it, you're basically just loading it with glue and then just touching that bottom bit there and just dragging it like that. And that basically is how you use it. Really good for filling gaps, like super fine ones and models as well. Acts a little bit like a filler. Cool. So down to the last lead to go on. And this guy here just goes into there. There's that little groove. Oh no, I'm getting old and my hands are shaky. It doesn't help that I have large monster hands. There we go, and that'll just go in there like that. A penultimate piece of this model is this little hand nubbin thing which it's spider walking on. So that will attach just on there. So we'll play around with dry fitting that and see if we can get it to line up okay. So there's a hand foot. And a hand foot go just in there like that. So a hand foot goes just in there, just like that. And last of all, we've got the skull. So that doesn't really have any keys or anything. It'll basically just sit on the top there, and it's looking up a little bit. And there we go. That's, oh no, it's all gone horribly wrong. And he'll look just like that. Here we have the second bone pile, and it's a mess. So we've got 4 arms, 4 legs, front and back of the ribs, 2 pelvises, and 1 bifurcated head. So, words instructions, break this guy down into little sub-assemblies. So, we've got the ribs just there. Those are key to marry up pretty nicely. Cool. So, that's part 1. So, part 2 we'll be putting arms on it. So, when we do that, it looks like we have it facing this way. So, the bit we're facing is the side with the spinal columns attached, not that side. So, this one here. So one of the reasons this is a bit of a mess is because these aren't numbered. So there's just some trial and error. So if you're looking at the 4 arms, there's 2 pointing ones. You can tell because you've got thumbs on the top. So these are the left, these are the right. And in the description, we want the flamey one. So we get rid of that one. And we want the straight arm, not the bent arm, for this step. So left and right, pointy and flamey. Just in the groove there, that little bit there. That's where we want to be lining that little joint up. And it'll just marry in there. So, the spooky Halloween nightmares, because this bit here goes like that. There we go. So, we've got those grooves just in there. So, that arm will go in there. There we go. So that's how that second one goes in. And there we have one horrible subassembly all done. Here we have the next 2 subassemblies. Is that right? That might not be right. So there's 2 left legs, 2 right legs, and 2 hips. So these hips are the right way around. And then you've got 2 big flamey feet. I'm not sure if this goes with this, or that goes with that. Yeah, that's right. There's more flamey on those boots. So this is the correct way to have them. 2 big flamey boots, 2 not as flamey feet. So we'll dry fit those and see how we go. So I've just been trying to dry fit this guy, and those legs won't go on without the hips, ending up real weird. So unlike what it says in the instructions, I'm going to be gluing on the hips first, and because there's better guides in these for them to line up. So first hip like that, and second hip with the flames. So it's got that like little lump on the back. Go in there somehow. There we go. So now with the hips in place, once it's dried, I'll have a go at the legs. So there's the hips on. So I've just tried dry fitting it, and it looks like this is the way you do it. The hips on first, and then you can get the legs all lined up into those like little hip cracks. We'll leave guy to dry a bit, and we'll have a go at those legs. So a little bit of glue there. Right foot. Lines up just in there. And glue will take a while to dry, but I'll do that off camera. So we've got that foot on that side, so if we turn it around, this is your other one, and this big flamey bit here will attach all the way up in there, so you've got a lot of support in it. So we'll put some glue on there, off camera, because that makes it exciting. Oh, you can't see what's happening. So we've got some glue on there now, that'll just snug up in there. So working quickly and putting that other leg on, yeah, I put the other one down too low, so I've removed it so the hips have a much higher attach point. Bam, light. So it attaches all the way back in there. So they attach way back up there on the hip. So I can see why there's so much hate for this model. It's phenomenally not great. So this leg here, that little leg there, will go up in there. We might just glue that off camera because it's difficult to do on camera. There we go, there's bone pile number 2 with legs and arms and everything all together. I'm going to glue it to the base because these guys, they have no stability at all. So gluing these guys onto the base, I'm hoping will just give them that extra little bit of something, just hold them together through the rest of the process. So I've just glued the legs there. I'm just going to dance them on top of there like that. Yoso, team. That's the way you cheat. You glue them to the base, and that makes the whole process 10 times easier. So we've dry fit them. So you've got your last right arm, just with thumbers on the hand. Yeah. That keys in just up there into that little groove. So we can do a little gluing thing off screen because that lets us be a bit more accurate, which is great. So that'll plug in just up there. So that'll go just in there like that. Cool. And you've got your last arm there, and that key's just up in there. One of these days this will work. And that key's in like that. Body and arms are all done. So the bifurcated head's the last bit to go on. So dry fitting's easier sometimes when you're doing it properly. So I had it wrong before. So the head goes on this side where you can see the vertebrae. If you try putting it on the other side, the vertebrae are hidden by the flames. So the side here with the arm pointing in, that's actually the back. The ones with the two limp arms in the front, that's front. It's basically like two people dancing and they've pushed their two skulls into one skull. That's what this model is. So super creepy, lots of body horror. Alright, cool. So this is bone pile number 3, and this guy looks like it's going to be a lot easier. So we've got a torso-y bit, 2 rib cages, which will plug into there. So I've got these guys, so they're the ones they line up to. Top head and bottom head. Yeah. So these guys are keyed, so they'll go in a certain way. And if you need to cheat, the flames on these guys should all be flowing up like normal fire. So just, yeah, get straight into that. Just smash this guy out, because, oh no. Go away, you guys. You've already had your time on the thing. There we go. So we'll be putting this one here with the flames on it. So that's keyed to go like that. And we've got the second one there. And this key to go in there. So that's like a piece of cake. This is the easiest thing I've built all day, and it feels fantastic. Cool. Heads are also keyed in a very certain way as well. So they've got a wedge for the back of the skull, and a wedge on the back of the skull. So that just slides in there like this. And this feels like, bam, putting together a Games Workshop model. Wow. It feels 10 times easier than the other stuff which I've done with 2 other bone piles. I can see why people get so frustrated with them. So this is the bottom torso, the bottom skull. I might need to file that down a little bit to get it to go. Just a moment, so we'll try that again. It's just an angle thing rather than a anything else sort of thing. And it tilts back a bit there. Yeah, so that's your 2 torsos. So top of the torso, bottom of the torso. So we've got the 2 legs. So we've got a left leg, and it'll go in just under there, and a right one, which will sit just under there. So we might just cheat and do these off screen, just so we get them nice and lined up. Cool, so we've got the legs on there. So now putting on the arms. So if we spin them around, there's some nice grooves in the back there for them. And that's the left hand, right hand. Yeah, that's right hand. So that goes in there like that, nice and simple. And goes in there like that. So scapula just goes in there like that. Yeah, and that's the last bone pile all cleaned up. So if you bought the bone piles in second ed, you basically just got the bone piles. Those 3 chaps and or ladies and or both, or neithers. That's how you used to get them. Nowadays you get them in a box set with a Grave Golem, which is this big chunky guy here. So the Grave Golem used to come in the Undying story set with Manos Hands of Fate, Zawoldo, 2 paper on a Minko, I think her name is. 2 ghost ladies which had lure, which is useful. It then gave pretty much everyone in second the ability to lure if there reses, which is great. Because previously it was just Seamus with that. So yeah, that's quite a cool model. So you get him with the bone piles. Scale wise, that's the sort of difference. This big guy's on 50mm versus your 30mm with your bone piles. All versatile. So if you do get that set, you've got this big chonker in versatile, and he does some cool stuff. We mentioned the Renedra graveyard bases, so that's one of those there. And we'll probably muddy up that and put some green flock on him once he gets painted up. Cool, so there we have the bone piles all put together. Yeah, these guys, great if you're liking like body horror, skeleton sort of things. They're all sort of taking that human form and just messing with it completely. So we've got that little guy there on 4 legs with 2 hands, running all spider-like. We've got these 2 which are meshed together. They're sort of sharing a rib cage. It's sort of fused, and the skull's fused. And we've got the 2 in the back which are fused at the spine. So walking upside down its hands, and all of them have the flames coming off them, which is a really cool ghostly effect. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. It'd be cool if you could leave a comment, like if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more from me, subscribe. After this video, I'm probably going to be dialing back to once every 2 weeks, maybe once every 3 weeks, because a once a week schedule is like murder. It was cool for Halloween, and we might do it next October again, but just with jobs and other commitments, it takes a toll. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. They aren't the worst models we'd have ever put together, but they are super fiddly. So just take your time. If you can afford to glue legs and arms and then give it like 2 or 3 hours to dry and just walk away. If you do want to like batch build them, so torsos together, legs together, just keep all the parts separate because they're all very distinct, but they'd be easy to mess up. Yeah, again, thanks. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in another video sometime. Thanks for watching. Bye.